300 large toys, 5,000 mediums, 11,000 small toys, 400 Grandmaster sprinklers, 500 level up lollipops, and all of these other rewards. Okay, so before this update released, I had literally no medium or small or even large pet toys, and now you can see I have over 1,000 combined, along with a ton of other rewards. So not only am I going to show you this insane method before it possibly gets nerfed, because honestly, I don't think they ever intended toys to be this easy to be obtained, but I'll also go over how I am AFKing it and how you can possibly AFK it too, although with how broken it is, you really do not need to AFK it to get a ton of rewards anyways. That being said, if you enjoy this video, find it useful, just want to stay updated on the best leaks, tips, tricks, and methods for go and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let's go ahead and get straight into the video. Now, first I want to address the elephant in the room. Yes, that is 13,000 trading tokens, and no, I did not spend Robux on them. The only Robux I spent was on that 200 Robux pack, which did give me 200, but I don't make videos just for the sake of it. I make videos on things that I actually like to do in the game, which is why I took advantage of my video I released yesterday and have been flipping a ton of items on my alt account. I mean a ton. Specifically, Corrupted Kitsune's dragonflies and mimics have been the easiest to flip. So if you want to learn how I did that, go ahead and check out my last video. As long as you know what you're doing, this event is actually incredibly broken for free-to-play players. The fact that I can almost get over 100 exotic gem chests from one day of just flipping items in this event is pretty insane. So when the next exotic item comes out, in my update video, I might open over 100 of them and see if I can get lucky, because I expect to earn way more tokens before this week is over. If you're not taking advantage of this trading event, I would highly recommend you do. But obviously, I know a lot of you really are not into trading, which is why I did some more digging around for this event and figured out by far the best way to farm it for an absurd amount of rewards. I'm talking hundreds of Grandmaster sprinklers and thousands of toys, including the large toys, along with a pretty easy way to AFK it. Although trust me, AFKing it is not even remotely mandatory. Now, we're really going to be farming two aspects of this event, both of which did get a pretty interesting buff. Now, first off, we have the trader. This is going to be not nearly as good as the second thing, but you can farm this for some still really decent rewards. Most notably, the streak can now go up to 50, and if you're over streak 50, you can get yourself 3 gem chests pretty much every hour, as well as 3 gem eggs pretty much every hour, and if you're lucky, maybe even a silver lollipop every single hour, as well as some other rewards. But I think the only other good reward is going to be the gold lollipop, which you'll rarely ever get. However, the gem chest, gem eggs, and silver lollipop are way more than enough to make it worth it to farm this, considering how simple it is to farm it. The trader was not only buffed by adding in a 50+ streak, but it no longer requires any high rarity plants. The only plants it can ask for are strawberries, blueberries, tomatoes, corn, carrots, and buttercups, with it only needing 140 for the strawberry, blueberry, buttercup, and I think carrot, and then a little bit less for the others. So farming the trader itself is very self-explanatory. All you need to do is set up 50 corn plants, 20 strawberries, 20 tomatoes, and 20 blueberries. And then depending on what the trader asks for, use a duplication pet like the Stegosaurus or any other duplication pet, and then collect the crop it wants and submit it. And obviously you can do the single harvest crops if you want, but typically I just let the trade cycle out. But you may notice now you have to wait 8 minutes for another trade, meaning you have a ton of downtime during this event. So this is the time where you can be taking advantage of the second method, which is going to be insane for every single kind of toy. And I cannot stress this enough. I really do not think this was intended to be this broken for toys, considering how coveted of an item medium toys and large toys used to be. There's no way they intended for it to be possible to farm hundreds and thousands within one day, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they don't nerf it. Regardless, you should be taking advantage of this. So the second method has to do once again with the Magpie, but this time it is even more broken than before. Keep in mind, I'm going to be showing you how you can AFK both of these at the same time, although just because of how good it is, it's really not necessary to AFK the Magpie because you can get everything you want within just a couple hours of manually playing. As you all are probably aware, the Magpie is the 14% pet from the gem chest and has a chance to grant a random reward for every silver fruit you sell, with it easily reaching that 30% cap using only 4 Magpies. That's going to be important as well. But before the Magpie got a massive buff, you were able to get every single kind of coal. I don't know why they added this into the loot table, but for some reason they were crazy and decided to not only remove these from the loot table, but make the Magpie even more broken than before. So you can still get yourself a ton of Grandmaster sprinklers, lollipops, rare and common eggs. I mean, I don't even factor these in anymore because you'll get way more than you could ever need, but they decided to add in a ton more gears into the loot table, including pretty much every sprinkler, as well as small, medium, and large toys. And trust me, they are not rare to get at all. Now, manually farming the Magpie is also not hard to do. Just use the same plot you're using for the trader, but make another patch of strawberries. I'd recommend you use pretty much all the extra plant slots that you have. Plant down just as many strawberries as you possibly can in a small area, and possibly use a pancake stack as well, because then you want to turn all these strawberries silver, which is not hard to do. You can obviously use silver fertilizer or a silver dragonfly, but with the new trading update, it's incredibly easy to get your hands on a cockatrice, which every 16 minutes will turn 20% of the fruits in its area silver. So as long as you have all your crops in a nice little area, I'm talking like 4, 5, maybe even 600 strawberry plants, each one having 4 strawberries on them, so that's over 2,000 crops. Each time this cockatrice activates its ability, it'll turn 20% to up to 32% of those crops silver every time. That's literally hundreds and maybe even 1,000 if you're lucky. Or even better, you can artificially make your own 15-second mimic. Trust me, it is not hard to do at all. As you can see here, a 2 kg base weight mimic, which is super easy to hatch and super easy to find in the trading plaza. At age 100 and Nightmare, with small, medium, and large toys, goes down to 15 seconds. So there's really no excuse for you not to have a really fast mimic, even if it's not down to 15 seconds, considering you'll now have a steady supply of all these toys as you are using the mimic. And obviously, this will speed up the process quite a bit, although all my crops are pretty much silver anyways. And as always, if you need help getting any of these pets, I would highly recommend you use Trade Kitsune, an amazing grow garden trading platform with tons of useful tools. Easily post, find, and coordinate trades with other players using their new updated trade system. When creating trade boats, you now have a ton of different filtering options to figure out what are the best pets that you want to trade. And when looking at all the trade posts for a specific pet, you now have a ton of different filtering options for all the trade posts. And with other quality of life changes, like duplicate pets now stacking in the trade window, and the maximum pet age now being increased to 125 with accurate values, Trade Kitsune is truly the only grower garden trading tool you could ever need, with tons of useful other tools. So check it out with the link in the description. And then from there, use the same duplication team you're using for the crops for the trader. So I use Stegosauruses, you can use giant ants or whatever. Collect as many silver strawberries as you possibly can, equip your 4 magpies, and then watch the rewards funnel in. All of that from one backpack. And then you could go back and forth and do that over and over again. What's even better is you'll have 4 extra slots, which you can then fill with silver monkeys, which will allow you to sell the same backpack full of items multiple times while still getting the rewards, obviously making this even more broken. Let's go ahead and test out the kind of rewards you can get. Obviously, the trader is pretty self-explanatory. You're limited to 10 minutes per trade. So depending on your streak, you'll only get 6 of these rewards every hour. So on average, you'll get around 3, maybe 6 gem chests an hour, 3, maybe 6 gem eggs an hour, and around 1 silver lollipop every hour, which is not even that bad. But the Magpie is a little bit harder to pin down exactly what you can expect to earn. So I'm going to go ahead and do 10 minutes of manually grinding the Magpie and show you exactly how OP it really is. Okay, so if we compare our hotbars from before we started grinding to after we started grinding, in those 10 minutes, we got 2 large toys, 35 medium, 77 small, and all of these other rewards. And obviously, even if you just do this for an hour, you'll gain a ton of stuff. Maybe 2 or 3 hours, you'll gain more toys than you'll ever need. But if you step it up a notch and AFK this, which I'll be showing you how to do in a few seconds here, in 24 hours, you can expect to get around 300 large toys, 5,000 mediums, 11,000 small toys, 400 Grandmaster sprinklers, 500 level up lollipops, and all of these other rewards. So yeah, I feel like the numbers really do speak for itself, and I really do think these numbers are a bit higher than the devs expected or wanted, so there could be a possible nerf incoming. Although I said the same last week, and they went ahead and instead buffed the Magpie even more, so I really don't know what the devs are going to do, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, AFKing something like this does require movement, so you can't just use an ordinary auto clicker, you got to use a macro, and of course the earthquake weather can mess you up, so you might have to check in every few hours, and if you're unlucky enough for an earthquake to happen overnight, then of course the macro could get messed up and you'll have to fix it when you wake up. And for mobile players who have a premium macro that allows them to record longer than 30 seconds, like the premium version of ClickMate, you can easily follow along with this macro loop as well. But for free macros, I don't know if there's any on mobile that will actually allow you to record long enough and be accurate enough to follow this macro, although it is very, very simple. And once again, for how broken this method is, even manually playing it, AFKing it is really just overkill. But the macro that I use to AFK is Tiny Task. It's free. It's linked in the description. It is a safe link. It's the most official link you can get for Tiny Task. task. I used the Wayback Machine to get the official link from the developers. Once it's open, make sure continuous playback is on. This will make sure the macro keeps looping until you want to stop it. And then just make sure you know what your recording hotkey is and what your playback hotkey is. Recording hotkey will start recording the macro, and then once your macro is recorded, playback hotkey will have it infinitely play back, allowing you to AFK doing the same task over and over again. So it's very simple. Just set up your garden kind of like I have here. Have your blueberries, corns, your strawberries, and your tomatoes in the same area if you do want to do the trader. And then have your big patch of strawberries off to the side for the Magpie. And then you also want to make sure you have your teams set up. So one team with the Magpie and silver monkeys. The next team with your duplication pets. I use stegosauruses. And the last team with your cockatrice and mimic. Like I mentioned earlier, this can just be a 2 kg level 100 nightmare mimic. It doesn't have to be an expensive or even huge mimic, because as you're macroing, you can apply medium, small, and large toy to the mimic to make sure it's always 15 seconds. And one more thing, if you're worried about it spending Robux as you're AFKing, at no point should you be clicking in the middle of your screen. You'll see pretty much the entire time that you're doing the macro, the only times you're going to be clicking is when you're clicking on the right side of your screen. So just do not click in the middle of your screen as you're recording your macro. But once you're ready, click the garden button, start recording on Tiny Task, and we're going to do the trader first. You can skip past this and go straight to the Magpie section, but I'll clip my duplication team, start collecting my blueberries, click the garden button, and then walk towards the trader. Make sure you're not moving your camera during this entire macro. And then we're going to click submit all. We're going to sell our inventory, and then we're going to go ahead and collect the corn, collect the strawberries, and collect the tomatoes, and do the same thing. Go to the trader and submit them. And then once you're done, click garden, and you can stop recording there if you just want to do the trader. But if you want to also do the Magpie, then we're going to switch to our cockatrice team. As long as your toys are in your hotbar, you can then select each toy and boost your mimic. Wait about a minute or so to make sure that your fruits actually do turn silver. And then we're just going to keep swapping between our duplication team and our selling team for the next 8 minutes or so, or until the trader refreshes his trade. So collect your strawberries, switch to your selling team, click the sell button, and then click I want to sell my inventory. And you can do this a couple of times because the silver monkey is going to refund a ton of crops back. Now, if you're only doing the Magpie section, you can just run back and forth a few times doing submissions until your silver fruits are pretty much deplenished, and then stop recording. And then your loop will begin again with you turning things silver, submitting your crops, and that is it. But if you're doing the trader as well, you want to do this for 8 minutes until the trader resets, and then stop the macro, and you'll be done. And you can AFK the trader and the Magpie at the same time. Here's a little bit of footage of me actually AFKing for a few hours doing this, just so you kind of get an idea of what this macro loop should look like. It's not too hard to set up. And once again, if you are a mobile player, you can just follow the same macro loop as long as you find a software that actually works. I don't play on mobile, so I'm not too well versed in the macro softwares. Help each other out in the comment section. I know Clickmate is really good if you use the paid version or the free 30-second recording option, but I don't think 30 seconds is enough time to do either of the macro loops, let alone both of them together. So yeah, if you're not going to be trading this week, definitely take advantage of these 2 massive event buffs, making the Magpie and the trader really good to farm and possibly AFK it if you can. And if you can start trading, highly recommend you check out my last video, because trust me, you can gain a ton of profit in this event if you just have a little bit of patience. And the longer you wait, the harder it is to snipe and flip items. So definitely take advantage of the time that you have while you have it right now. That being said, it looks like next week's update is going to be a Christmas update. I'm super excited for this update, and you should definitely expect an update leaks video on this on Thursday or Friday. I do have an exam on Saturday, so I might not be able to make a video on Saturday, but we'll have to wait and see. That being said, if you enjoyed this video, found it useful, or just want to stay updated on all the best leaks, tips, with methods for grow gardening, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I hope you all have an amazing day and good luck gardening.